TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And I want to let you know that the State of the Saints podcast is brought to you by Manscaped. Over 2 million men worldwide have joined the movement for all their below-the-waist needs. Engineers for the last 18 months have perfected the greatest hair trimmer ever created, the Lawnmower 3.0. The third-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology pioneered by Manscaped. You can choose the Lawnmower 3.0 as well as other items by going to manscaped.com, and you can also save 20% by using the promo code State of Saints. That's manscaped.com. Use the promo code State of Saints and save 20% on the Lawnmower 3.0 as well as other Manscaped items. That's manscaped.com.
Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And on this edition, we're going to be talking about some of the worst, and I mean the absolute worst, Saints draft picks of all time. All right. Now, it goes without saying, the Saints have had their fair share of whiffs throughout the years. I think we all can agree to that. And there are some guys that are the worst. And then they got people that are just the absolute worst, okay? But I think we can agree to this, though. Over the last, I'll say, decade, the Saints have been doing a really good job at drafting players. They produced one of the greatest draft class of all time, which I alluded to on the last edition of the State of the Saints podcast back in 2017. But my goodness, did they have some straight hot garbage that came through the Saints organization, and we're going to be talking about it on this edition. But thank you so much for your time. The State of the Saints podcast is brought to you by manscaped.com. Also, a special thank you to our other sponsors, Everlast and Cash App. Okay, if you want to donate to the State of the Saints podcast, use $ State of Saints. And let's go ahead and get into it, man, because I'm excited about this. Okay, I'm excited about this. And I just want to make this perfectly clear, okay, because you got some people out there that just think that all of a sudden, I just think that I'm always right about everything. You know, they think that, oh, my word is gospel and nobody else's opinion matters. You know, those people that are trying to clout chase. But anyway, everybody's opinion matters, okay? This is just my opinion, okay? You have your opinion, and that's just the way that this show rolls, okay? So, who are some of the worst draft picks in New Orleans Saints history? I'm going to go ahead and start it off. Feel free to put it down in the chat. Thank you so much for those filing into the chat. But to me, if I'm picking some of the worst draft picks of all time, you can pick people like what? You know what I'm saying? Like Stanley G. Baptiste. You know what I'm saying? Like people like that. My goodness, man. I mean, Ricky Williams, I mean, giving up everything that you have for him. I mean, there's been some straight garbage that came through there, man. And we can't forget about the draft where I think after 3 years, I want to say that was the 2015 draft, where they had absolutely nobody that they played on a team more than 3 years. That was like with the Vinny Series and the Brandon Cooks, and you know what I'm saying? We can throw a Nick Toon up in that thing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's been some straight hot garbage that came through this thing. And you know, I mean, the Saints, to me, I don't know what they were thinking. I guess, you know what I'm saying? I understand. Like, okay, like George Rogers, right? I get it, right? George Rogers was one of the best running backs in college football. So drafting him, I would expect for them to think that he's going to transition to the pros and change the fortunes of the New Orleans Saints. I can understand that, but it just did not work out. Okay, it did not work out at all. Some people on the list I can think of, I wrote them down here. Von Dunbar, okay, running back out of Indiana. Alvin Toles, linebacker out of Tennessee, back, you know what I'm saying, back in the day. Man, Joe Campbell, you know, I'm putting up some names here. Rick Middleton. I mean, come on, man, like, give me a break. Jonathan Sullivan. All right, but I will go ahead and hear from you all, man, because like I said, this is opinionated, you know what I'm saying? This is an opinionated show, and you know, I want to get your opinions on it. All right. Ivan says George Rogers was a beast. Okay. Von Dunbar, I just mentioned him. Irv Smith. And we got some names up in this thing. First time ever I get to see a live show right on time. Ryan, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. Real King fan says in 2017 we drafted this nobody, Alvin Kamara, who hasn't done anything, and it was honestly such a waste of a second-round pick. Definitely wasn't a waste of time. One of the best players in football. Mario says hardcore Jerry Port, giving the shouts out to Jerry. Mark says if the Saints sign free agent quarterback Nick Mullins this week, I'm okay with that. I mean, no harm, no foul. Most likely he just will be on the sidelines. Come in during an emergency situation. Jamaica says, hey, TJ, what's going on, Jamaica? Mario, what's going on, man? Appreciate you stopping by. Ryan says, what's your opinion on the rumors that the Saints going for Farley? I hate to see him go to another team and ball out, but those injuries are a big risk. Well, look, could have said the same thing about Marshawn Lattimore in college, right? Marshawn Lattimore dealt with hamstring issues and knee issues all through college, but he's been pretty steady. You know, I mean, he missed his fair share of games, but not to a point where we don't understand the type of player that he is. So it's a double-edged sword here, right? You know, damn if you do, damn if you don't. They have guys that end up getting injured in college, but never get injured in the pros. And then you got guys that never get injured in college, always injured in the pros. So I mean, quite honestly, if he's there and they're very confident that he can change the fortunes and also fix that, you know, number 2 cornerback position, you know, that huge void that is going to be there due to the absence of Janoris Jenkins going to the Titans, then I'm all for it. You know, like you got to go with the best you have available. You got to do your due diligence. And sometimes you just got to go ahead and just close your eyes and pull the trigger. So I would pick him if you're confident about him, because, I mean, it might turn out to be in your favor. Jamaica says, how's the family doing? Been a while, but I'm back regularly now. New grandbaby, so been busy, but miss my Saints. Well, you know, glad that you're here, Jamaica. You know, I understand family business is very, very important, but we're glad that you're here. Thank you so much for checking out the live. Julia says PJ Williams is the worst. I want to say PJ Williams the worst, you know what I'm saying? Because you can't say that you can do some things with PJ, you know, like, even though if you put him on the outside, I mean, he just a sitting duck. But if you put PJ at safety or you put him at the nickel, he's serviceable. I've seen guys like I mentioned, Stanley Jean-Baptiste, a second-round pick, 6'3", 215 pounds, was supposed to be our version of the Richard Sherman during the time when the Saints tried to replicate what the Seattle Seahawks was doing. They got Rob Ryan, you know what I'm saying, like, as the defensive coordinator, and they wanted to run the same type of defense as Seattle. And they thought Stanley Jean-Baptiste, a big-body cornerback, was going to be what it was. And the dude was just absolute trash. Dude couldn't even get on the field. Like, they even tried to put this dude on the field, like, for special teams, and he sucked. You know, to me, when you're looking at guys like, you know, I would take a PJ Williams over a Stanley Jean-Baptiste any doggone day. What up, TJ? Check out the receiver from Florida State. Okay, I'll check it out, Kenneth. I'll check it out when I get up out of here, man. I'll check it out. Jamaica says, catch me up. Well, I mean, basically been doing things based on the draft. We talked about some of the Saints, Mount Rushmore players on yesterday. Now we're talking about some of the worst, and tomorrow we're going to be talking about some of the best draft picks, like that the Saints have produced. And of course, that's going to lead us to the live reaction show of the NFL draft. We're going to be going live right here on the State of the Saints podcast YouTube channel. We're going to be breaking down the draft picks 1 through 32 on draft night. So I'm looking forward to it and really excited about it. That's what this is going to be all about. Already read that. Let's see. Kenneth says Garrett Grace. Yeah, Garrett Grace, he just didn't pan out. Coming out of Colorado State. He wore number 18 because he was a disciple of Peyton Manning. But the only problem was he didn't play like Peyton Manning. The Saints expected him to develop as a quarterback. It just didn't pan out. I never seen like Sean Payton really be so expressive about a quarterback in my entire life. Like normally he kind of hides certain things, like even if he's not happy with the play of that quarterback, but he just flat out just said that it just wasn't working out with Garrett Grace. Patrick Robertson. Patrick Robertson in a Saints uniform, the first time around wasn't very good. He went to San Diego, and then he went to Philadelphia, where he actually found some success. According to Pro Football Focus, he was the best nickel corner, going in that championship season when Philadelphia won a Super Bowl. But as a Saint, he left a lot to be desired. This time around, he's not bad. But if we're talking about a draft pick, him coming out of Florida State, I have to agree. He wasn't one of the best draft picks. Davenport, as of right now, based on his position, based on what the Saints actually gave up for him, I would have to say, he's falling into that territory. But I'm not prepared to say that, he's the absolute worst, so he should be on that list. He still has an opportunity to kind of turn the corner, right? As long as he's in the Saints uniform, he has a chance to kind of correct some of the things. It's almost like with Mark Ingram, right? Mark Ingram, first couple of years with the Saints, he left a lot to be desired, right? And people were really scratching their heads and like, man, was this the right decision getting Mark Ingram? And then all of a sudden, like around year 4, year 5, that's when like the light came on and everybody started to respect, everybody started to respect Mark Ingram for his talent. So he still has opportunity, man. As long as he's a New Orleans Saint, he still has a chance to right the wrongs. Eugene says, bro, I'm old enough to remember Guido Merkins, the punter out of Texas. We took in the first round of 79, man. We used to use him for the gadget quarterback play too. I recall folks laughing at him in the dome back in the day. I mean, I'm pretty sure they were laughing at him as well as the other Saints players out there. I think that, the greatest comedy show, back in the early 80s and in the early 90s, mid 90s was the Saints, going to the Saints game, the Saints were up there, with Def Comedy Jam and some of your favorite stand-up comics. If you want to get a laugh or two, go to the Superdome in the mid 90s or the early 80s. Like these guys were not very good at all. Nick Toon was boo-boo. Yeah, he was not very good either. Nick Toon, it just didn't pan out. I understand why they got him, but I was kind of skeptical because I'm like, why would you get a wide receiver out of Wisconsin? I'm trying to think here. Maybe y'all can help me out here. I don't think I ever heard of a successful wide receiver out of Wisconsin. I'm pretty sure there's some write-off that you probably can think of, but I know mostly Wisconsin is known for their offensive linemen, like Ryan Ramchick, and the running backs, like Michael Bennett and Ryan Dane and, guys like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't remember, like, guys, coming out of, Wisconsin as a wide receiver because they're such a run-oriented team. You know what I'm saying? All they do is basically just run the football, maul you with the offensive line. So, and I understand his dad, Al Toon, was successful in the league, playing for the Jets all those years, multi-time Pro Bowler. And I know that Sean Payton and the coaching staff for the Saints, they like those generational players, second, third generation football players. They feel like those guys have there's something special. The fact that they following in their father's footsteps, they like those kind of guys. But it just didn't pan out, man. It just wasn't what it was. Sean Knight. Yeah, Sean Knight definitely deserves to be on that list. Wasn't very good as a player. Definitely in that top tier. Stefan Anthony. Stefan Anthony played really well at Clemson. One of the leaders of that Clemson defense. He was a part of that classic Clemson versus Alabama, that part one game where it came down to the wire. They end up losing. Everybody thought that he was going to be that middle linebacker that the Saints were missing. But his biggest issue was the fact that he just couldn't cover, and the game was changing. Not only did you have to worry about the tight ends, you had to worry about the running backs too. And he just couldn't keep up with them, man. His coverage skills wasn't very good. Like, he was a sound tackler. And I just feel like his way of playing, like if Stefan Anthony played in the 90s, he would have been a really good linebacker. But the fact that you actually have to have some level of athleticism, as far as like being in coverage, I think he kind of suffered because of that. I think that he'll be a good player in another generation. In this generation, at best, you're a special teams player. Jamaica says, cut him some slack. Let's see what he can do this year. Geesh. Who are we talking about here? Who are we talking about? I'm going to scroll down a little bit. All right, I'm going to scroll down. Mario says Kenneth Vacaro. I disagree with that. I think Kenneth Vacaro was a good draft pick. I really do. I think that Kenneth Vacaro, his first year with the Saints, I remember like him at camp, him getting in fights with with veterans, guys like getting mad and stuff like that at him because he was going, excuse my French, balls to the wall. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was really flying around the field. And guys told him, man, hey, man, you got to settle down, man. You got to settle down, Rook. You know what I'm saying? Because he was really like going at it. He was getting in fights at camp. Him and Jimmy Graham kind of got into it. So I like his intensity, man. He kind of lacked in coverage, but you can make an argument to say maybe it was the way that the Saints actually tried to utilize him. I mean, I know he was benched on several occasions, but if you look at him when he was with the Titans, he played pretty doggone good, man. When they had him like at that linebacker type role / coverage guy, kind of like what the Saints did with Roman Harper later in his career, he played pretty well. So, yeah. I like Kenny Vaccaro. I can't say that he was the worst. There definitely was some worse than Kenny Vaccaro, but I mean, like, I definitely respect that pick. I understand, like, when you're like in that top 15, you expect the guy to be, a transcendent type player. So if we're talking about in that regards, I have to agree with you. But one of the worst, I don't think so. You think Lattimore gets suspended for what happened with that gun? Yeah, I do. I know, out of sight, out of mind, and we're thinking, oh man, maybe ain't nothing gonna happen or come of it. But I just think that it's just a fact in the off season, and maybe that would be beneficial to him. The fact that it happened in the off season, it was early in the off season. You got some months before the season starts, so but I do think he's going to miss a game or two. I think that they're actually doing their due diligence. The way that the NFL just takes shots at the New Orleans Saints. It might end up being a 4 game, and he'll have to appeal it for a 2. But I think he is going to miss a game, maybe 2. And if they don't extend Alvin contract, they should try to get Najee Harris. Alvin already got a new contract. Alvin Kamara just signed like a new contract this past season. So this is the start of his brand new contract. He got $55 million, so Alvin Kamara is with the Saints for the foreseeable future. So if you want to get Najee Harris, fine. You know what I'm saying? I think that he's going to be a good player. I think he's going to be the first running back off the board. He might end up playing for the Steelers. I can see him playing for the Steelers or even Travis Etienne. They kind of fit that Steelers mold. But I don't think that it's necessary for them to get him. Sean Knight, defensive lineman, first round pick in 87. He held out, made 1 tackle in his career. Well, that's the thing, like, if you're going to hold out, I understand you got to get your money, but at the same time, you got to go out there and you got to ball out. And he did not do that. He just didn't pan out, and I don't know, man. I don't think he had, like, just looking back, I don't think he had the drive and the determination to be great. And I think that with the expectations, expectations being high and what the Saints expected out of him, I don't think he lived up to it. I think the pressure kind of got to him. I think, I understand it's a business, you want your money, but I don't know, man. I don't think he dared to be great. Eugene says, bruh, how about Russell, what is it, Ellerben, the punter we took in the first round of 79. We even used to use him as a quarter. Yeah, I read that already. Yeah, he was talking about how bad he was. That was before my time right there. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't remember that. I'll have to go back in the archives to take a look at that. But I can imagine, like, if he was around that time, I'm pretty sure he wasn't very good. The worst, Danny Wolfel. That was bad business right there. I think that Danny Wolfel, to me, was the worst quarterback in New Orleans Saints history. Contrary to popular belief, people think that I think that Aaron Brooks is, especially from the last episode, which leads me to my next point, and I'm glad you mentioned that. I did a poll on Twitter. I want to thank everybody for, taking a part in that poll. And the question was very, very simple. It was Aaron Brooks a great quarterback for the Saints? Okay. 93 people voted, not a lot of people. 45% said yes. 55% said no. So you got 45% of people out there who say that Aaron Brooks was a great quarterback, or maybe I don't know, maybe they have a definition that's different from mine. I don't know. I don't think he was a great quarterback. 55% of people say no. So there you have it right there. You had people, that decided to snapshot what I said and thought that, that would actually bring some credibility to them, I guess. But it turns out 93 people voted, 55% said no, 45% said yes. If it would have been 55% yes, 45% no, I still would have came on here and said, I stand by what I see. All right. So there you have it. I guess you have some people out there that have a different definition of great than I do. But everybody's entitled to their opinion. Not a very good opinion, but nevertheless. Tommy Stevens. Oh, man. Tommy Stevens, look, I just think that I understand why the Saints got Tommy Stevens. I do. I would assume that the Saints thought that they can actually try to replicate what Taysom Hill did if they decide to move Taysom to the starting position, right? And you got to keep in mind, the NFL draft was going on. They didn't know what they was going to have as far as with Jameis Winston. I don't think they signed him just yet. So I was just assuming that the New Orleans Saints at this particular time, before Jameis even came into the picture, and the fact that Taysom was, negotiating a new contract, that they thought that, okay, Taysom was going to be the backup quarterback. If Taysom comes in, we can still run some of the plays that Taysom ran if we use Tommy, right? Because Tommy actually moved to tight end. And I think they purposely did that, put in Tommy Stevens as a tight end, because if you look at most of the packages that Taysom Hill ran when Drew Brees was a quarterback, what position did he play mostly? It was a tight end position, right? So I'm thinking that they drafted him in case Taysom had to come into the game due to Drew Brees being injured. This was before Jameis was in the picture, and they couldn't, they didn't have to worry about, any fall off or anything like that. And they can still run some of those Taysom Hill packages by way of Tommy Stevens. So I understand that, but I don't think he was the worst. I mean, he played pretty good. Like, I know he played for Carolina. He played on, I think, week 17 when the Saints played him. He made some noise in that game. He made some pretty good plays, and wouldn't surprise me at all, man. Like, if he ends up being in that Taysom Hill role in Carolina, I can see them actually utilizing his ability. I've seen some flashes. So maybe a year under his belt, maybe you'll see a little bit more out of him. Corey White. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, you might well just take your pick. For the exception of Akeem Hicks, that entire draft was just absolutely hot garbage. Like, Nick Toon, Corey White, take your pick. Horrible, pathetic, absolutely 100% grade A pathetic. Now, you can't say, this was the Bounty Gate year, you know what I'm saying, where Sean Payton was suspended. The Saints lost some draft picks. They basically gave the Saints the death penalty because of the whole bounty scandal, which ended up blowing up in the NFL's face in the end. That whole entire draft was just absolutely terrible, man. Just throw the whole thing in the trash. But if you don't have a pick until the third round, man, that set the Saints back so much, man. So many years, like by them, like losing that first and that second round pick, like it really set the team back. But we know what the NFL thinks about the New Orleans Saints, so they were they were smiling somewhere. How was you? Let me see. How was was good? I don't know exactly what that means, Colorado. I guess you're saying how was your weekend or how was your day? Mine was good. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Colorado. Kenneth says Cedric Ellis from USC on a team for a few years and no production for a first-round pick. That was a bust. Yeah, it kind of came and it went. And not to mention, man, him being injured all the time. And, he was a part of that special USC team, when that special national championship, game. And you had all those players, man, all those NFL players out there. I mean, it was an embarrassment of riches on both sides. I would expect the Saints to feel like they had something in Cedric Ellis. It did not pan out at all. Okay. Julius, another person says Stefan Anthony. Jared says Andrews Pete. I won't say Andrews the worst. I won't put him in that worst category. One of those people that leaves a lot to be desired. I agree. Gets beat every now, I won't say every now and then. He gets beat quite a bit. But I want to say he's the worst. If we're talking about top 30 or something like that, you probably can put him like in that 20, 25, something like that. I know you can pick out. I know you can pick out at least 25 other bad draft picks other than Andrews Pete. But I mean, look, I always say if you're picking in the top 15, I just mentioned if you get picked in the top 15. You're expected to be a transcendent player, and he has not been. So there it is. Leanne, thank you so much for being a supporter of the State of the Saints podcast. She says, even though I think he has some unaddressed mental health issues to factor into his play, Ricky Williams, there was Zion Williamson level hype surrounding him when he was drafted, and it was it never worked. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Leanne. It was just the expectations of it. Like I just feel like if the Saints would have ended up drafting Ricky Williams in the draft, like let's just say, for example, the Saints just so happen to fall or Ricky Williams falls and the Saints draft him. I don't think you'll have this. It was just the expectations. It was just the fact of what Mike Ditka gave up for him. Like when you give up that much, you have got to be that guy, right? You know what I'm saying? Like you got to be that guy. And I just think that everything the Saints gave up for him, like it just put this burden, you know what I'm saying? This pressure on him, you know what I'm saying? And I don't think he was prepared for it. And the thing about it is, Ricky Williams, everywhere he went, he was the best. And he was celebrated. At Texas, he was celebrated. His high school, I want to say in San Diego, if I ain't mistaken, where he came from, I think he was like celebrated. But the thing about it is, like when you go to the pros and everybody's critiquing every single thing that you do, I don't think that he was prepared for it. I really don't. I don't think he was prepared for it at all. Brandon says Usama Young. Yeah, man, wasn't very good, but he was mostly in spot duty. I can remember him getting beat on that double move by Pierre Garçon in the Super Bowl 44. Yeah, but he definitely was one of the worst. I'll give him that. Worst draft pick, T.J. Jones, third round, 2011. Oh man, me personally, if I played, I definitely don't feel like I would have been the worst draft pick. I think I wouldn't have, I don't think I would have been a worse. I won't say I would have been the best. Lee Evans wasn't very good. John Bocci. Now we just the linebacker out of Michigan State. But honestly, who expected him to do anything? I didn't, and I don't even think he was a draft pick. I think he was an undrafted free agent, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think anybody expected him to be like anything besides a special team player. I think if you expected him to do anything, I think it was basically wishful thinking. Nick Toon's quarterback at Wisconsin was Russell Wilson. That explains why Nick Toon was good at Wisconsin. Yeah, I can see. Well, that makes sense. But I just never. Have you ever heard of a really good wide receiver coming out of Wisconsin? I never did. Alex Moden. Alex Moden wasn't very good. I think that is the truth. Yeah, Alex Moden, he definitely wasn't good. I wanted Martez Wilson to work out. I don't know. Like I said, some guys got it, some guys don't. That's just what it is. Like, sometimes guys can come in, they can exceed expectations. The pressure doesn't really get to them. You know what I'm saying? They go out there, they work hard, they put their best foot forward. Then you got some guys, man, they just leave a lot to be desired. And I just feel like when you're not in that upper echelon, right? Like teams ain't got that time to be patient with you. Like if you're like a first, second round pick, teams will be like, okay, we'll work with you. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they see you trying to work hard. But if you kind of fall down in the draft and you're like, and you just don't leave it all on the field, most likely you're going to get cut. I remember a game where somebody had a sign saying, by taking Sean Knight in a trade, the Broncos made our day. Oh, man. What's our chances of getting Julio? Probably slim to none. I don't see Julio. I don't see Julio playing for the New Orleans Saints. And here's the thing. When guys start to get like really into their careers and they play a team, constantly, they have a tendency of not want to play for that team. You know what I'm saying? Because the rivalry is like so ingrained inside of them. You see guys that come in 2-3 years, they might go to a team in the same division. But I think Julio going into his 11th season, if I'm not mistaken, he's going into his 11th season. I mean, he's been with the Falcons that whole time. For a fact he don't like the Saints. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like with Steve Smith Sr. You know what I'm saying? The Saints actually reached out, wanted him to come to the Saints, at one time. But he didn't want to play for the Saints. He was like, man, nah, I can't see myself with that black and gold on. You know what I'm saying? So I do feel like, players don't want to, don't want to go that route. But if it is via trade, I don't see them trading Julio Jones to the Saints. I really don't. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. I can see Julio I can see Julio probably not showing up. You know what I'm saying? If he do show up, he just ticked off that the Falcons would have the audacity to trade him to the Saints. And you know what I'm saying? He don't want to light him up, but I don't think he would really want to play for the Saints. Ricky Williams, when he was traded to New Orleans, absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely top 3 to me. And not to mention he was always hurt. Adrian Arrington. Yeah, they wanted Adrian Arrington to work so bad. Him coming out of Michigan, man, he had all the tools. Like, he was like 6'4". He was about 210, 215. Like, he looked the part. They gave him the Brandon Coleman treatment. Like, please work out, please work out, please work out. And he just couldn't. It just, it was like, it was almost like I said, the Brandon Coleman treatment. Every training camp, Brandon Coleman turned the corner. Brandon Coleman, he out there killing. Brandon Coleman looking like he the best thing out there. And then when it's time to get on the field, like missing in action, right? So they gave Adrian Arrington the same type of treatment. It just didn't pan out, right? I mean, he had all the measurables, right? He looked the part, but it just wasn't. It just didn't pan out. Stroll down a little bit to Kenneth. Kenneth says Brooks was trash, but better than most we had before him. And that's the thing, Kenneth. And I say this all the time, right? I said this last night, and I used this as an example. right? I said if I had salmon, right? This is my first time trying salmon. And I said, this is the best salmon that I ever had in my entire life. Like, what am I actually saying? What am I actually saying? I mean, this is my first time trying salmon. I've never tried it before. And you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying it's the best thing. What am I actually saying? I'm not saying nothing at all because I don't have much to choose from. I never tried, you know what I'm saying, a certain type of salmon. I never tried it prepared this type of way. I only tried it once. So it's a little small sample size. If we want to be technical, right? Aaron Brooks is a New Orleans Saints. He is a great New Orleans Saints quarterback. If we want to be technical, because there's not much to choose from. But what am I actually saying? What am I actually saying here? Like, how many great quarterbacks have played for the New Orleans Saints? I only can think of one, and that's Drew Brees. So if Aaron Brooks is next, what am I actually saying? The Saints have been playing football since 1967, right? So what am I saying here? You know what I'm saying? Like, what, 35 plus years? They went 35 plus years without having above average or middle of the pack quarterback play. You know what I'm saying? Like, they went all that time, and in comes Aaron Brooks. So that's the way that New Orleans Saints fans, to me, like some of them, evaluate talent, because they don't have anything else to compare it to. If I start like talking about great linebackers from the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? And I say somebody like, let's just say Ryan Shazier, you know what I'm saying? God bless the brother. Let's just say if, you know, he didn't end up getting hurt, he was on a trajectory of being good. But would I say he one of the greatest linebackers in Pittsburgh Steelers history? No. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about Jack Lambert. You got to think about, you know what I'm saying, Greg Lloyd. You got to think about Kevin Green. You got to think about all these other guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, you start thinking about quarterbacks, right? You start talking about Romo, right? Romo broke all of the records of all of the quarterbacks that were part of the Dallas Cowboys. But would you say that he's better than Don Meredith? Probably not. Would you say that he was better than Roger Staubach? Probably not. Would you say that he's better than Troy Aikman? Hell no. You know what I'm saying? So what am I like? The Saints didn't have great players. That's why when I did the poll yesterday, I basically went for what I knew. Guys that's career that's already set in stone. But like I said, I mean, the Saints as of right now, their career is being written, you know what I'm saying, is being written down in pencil instead of pen. Like, there's only so many guys that have played for the Saints that you can write down and say, okay, they're forever going to be an all-time great for the Saints. You can write their name down in pen. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can think about Drew Brees, think about Rick, you know what I'm saying? Like Ricky Jackson, guys like that, Willie Roaf, like write their name down in pen. Okay, they're gonna always forever be great. And a player is really going to have to really ball the hell out in order for us to even mention them in the same light as the players that I just mentioned. So when people say, you know, was he great? Yeah, if you want to look at it like when it comes to, you know, him playing for the Saints, but if I'm looking at the entire NFL as a whole, he wasn't very good. Like, if I'm comparing him to other players around the league, you know, like, he wasn't better. He was better from the Saints standpoint because we were so terrible. Anything that was a average, a little bit above average, like, we accepted. And that's the way our mind frame think, especially like those that have been Saints fans since, you know what I'm saying, like the 80s or whatever. Like, they just okay with me. Anything that average or above average, they're going to fight it to the death. Because, you know, like that's the way they mind work. Because they like, what we have right now is better than what we had before, right? It's almost like if you move, you know what I'm saying, you move to a house, it's a house full of people. Y'all live in a 2-bedroom house, and you move to a 4-bedroom house. And let's just say the 4-bedroom house don't look as well as the 2-bedroom house. But in a way, you like, well, they got more space up in here, right? So that's the way I look at it, man. The Saints don't have a rich history of being successful. I don't sit up here and pretend that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love the Saints. I bleed black and gold. I love my hometown team, but we got to call a spade a spade. Our way of thinking as Saints fans is because how terrible they were. So we give guys the benefit of the doubt, or we reserve our judgment, or we fight other opinions to the death because because we ain't seen nothing else. Like the Saints are really just starting to get players that we consider as borderline Hall of Famers, surefire Hall of Famers in the last 15 years. The Saints, once again, have been playing football since 1960 freaking 7. And we think about this. Think about this, folks. The New Orleans Saints, it took them 40 plus years to find a quarterback that is considered above average, great, or even elite. And I'll just leave it at that. Pax actually says Saints are my favorite. Well, mine too. Corey Wilson was a bust for sure. Courtney Wilson, yeah. Von Dunbar out of Indiana. Oh, yeah, terrible. Garrett Grace was pretty bad too, to say the least. Cajunomics saying ha. Eugene says Saints fans seeing Breeze play for the first time was like people flying first class for the first time before the moment we didn't know quarterback play could be so good because we had never seen. Exactly. And that's why I say it just clouds your judgment. Like I said, like if you see something that you've never seen before or you're not used to, you want to continue to have that feeling. You want to continue to have that same feeling. And anything that gives you that same type of feeling, you want to keep that around for a long period of time. You're going to fight it to the death because the only thing that you remember is that great feeling. If, like, let's just say if you had vanilla ice cream your whole entire life, right? I love vanilla ice cream. You ain't never tried no other ice cream. Only thing you know is vanilla ice cream is the best. Give me some other variety of ice cream. You might like Rocky Road. You know what I'm saying? You might like sherbet. Might like, you know what I'm saying? Like, chocolate. Give me more variety and then you'll have something to choose from. But if you keep on, like, if you just ate vanilla ice cream your whole life, you like, vanilla is my choice. That is what it is. And nothing, like Drew Brees has spoiled a lot of Saints fans and has also clouded our judgment about what great quarterback play is. Aaron Brooks, to me, like was a big fish in a very little pond, right? He a whale in a gutter to me. Like, I'm not saying that he, a gutter guy or whatever. I'm just saying he a whale in a gutter. Where it just rained. Like it's so painstakingly obvious that a whale is chilling off in that gutter. Like who can you really compare this guy to before Drew Brees got here? Like, really? It's like, what, Bobby Hebert? You know what I'm saying? I love Bobby, but a lot of people don't look at Bobby Hebert in that same light. I love Bobby. You know what I'm saying? Like, Bobby has been on the show. My grandmother, like, he's one of her favorite players of all time. But, like, who are you comparing him to? Archie Manning? He ran for his life. Statistically, Archie Manning wasn't very good. It was just the fact that we knew what he was, and we give him the benefit of the doubt for being on bad teams. So what am I actually saying here? What am I actually saying? Ghostface Griller, thank you very much for being a supporter and the $10 donation, says who that TJ. Yeah, man, thank you for being here, Ghostface, man. Finally caught it live, man. Ghostface always says that, I caught it late, but thank you for always going back watching watching the recording version, you know what I'm saying? But thank you for always supporting, man. Jim, don't call me Chris Everett. Well, he wasn't drafted by the Saints. He played for the Rams. And Jim Everett, he had some success with the Saints. He had some success, not much. But I remember Jeff Blake. Yeah, me too. I think Jeff Blake would have ended up being really good. I think that he kind of planted the seeds of, that playoff run for the Saints. Okay. I think that when he got hurt, Jim Haslett in his first season, he had to set the tone. He had to do something that Saints fans wasn't used to, that's winning football games consistently. And then when Aaron Brooks came in, the rest was history. Do I feel like if Jeff Blake would have played or constantly played, do I feel like he would have gave the Saints some success? Absolutely. I just think that when Aaron Brooks came in and the way that he was playing, I think it was hard to go back to Jeff Blake. But Jeff Blake was definitely not a bad quarterback. Got a lot of respect for Jeff Blake, Let's bring Fred Weary back. Let's not. Hector, hey man, a long time lurker, first time catching you live. Keep it going. Love the energy. Hector, thank you so much, man. Hopefully, won't be your last time catching it live. And thank you so much for being a supporter, man. Thank you for watching, man. All the people that view the podcast, I appreciate it. Greg Raging Cajun says, hey, y'all, and got the profile picture of the Crystal Hot Sauce. Okay, always got to have Crystal Hot Sauce on deck. Tony Rice says, if the great Julio had played in just 2 more of the 7 games that he missed, he would have had another 1,000-yard season. Yeah, but, Julio has been great, and he still is to me. Definitely going to the Hall of Fame, no doubt about that. I think we all can agree that he was dealing with some injuries. He has a lot of heart, man. I remember he was dealing with the hamstring issue. I think the second time they played the Saints, I think it was like on a 4th and 15. He came in the game like he limped out there, and he caught that pass on a 4th and 15 to convert a first down for him. Like Julio Jones, like you can say what you want about him. The only thing I can say that I don't like about Julio is the fact he played for the Falcons. But I've always liked Julio Jones. Even his time at Alabama, he was unguardable. In some ways, still unguardable. I just wish him the success, man. And if they end up trading him, hopefully he goes somewhere where he can actually, play for a championship. I think he deserves it. When guys start to put in that work and they really grind hard, you wish them well, rather they play for another team or not, the team that you don't like, So I wish him the best, man, And if he played for the Falcons, I still wish him the best. It's just, I just wish them as a team, all the bad luck in the world. I wish all the bad things in life happened to them and nobody else but them. Oh, hate. Y'all remember player haters ball on Chappelle show? That's the way I feel about the Falcons. Jared Poor says Grilla. Jim was a big dude. Yeah. Jim Everett was a huge guy, man. And Jim Rome found that out personally, man. That was funny when Jim Rome thought that he had this invisible wall because they're on television, and he couldn't keep the same energy. When Jim Everett got there in the studio, he thought that, oh man, he's not gonna get up and do nothing. Boy, was he wrong. I'm back. Had to go make a run. Jerry, thank you for coming back, man. Appreciate it. Ghostface giving a shout out to the OG. Billy Joe Holbert. Yes, absolutely hot garbage. I think somebody said this. I can't remember. Forgive me. But on the last episode, somebody said if your name Billy Joe and you got a quarterback named Billy Joe, most likely you ain't about to win nothing. Maybe in a Texas state championship game or something like that, or probably Alabama or Mississippi, you probably win a state championship, right? That go Billy Joe, not in the NFL. Yeah, run for your life, Archie. Yeah, I'll never forget Archie Manning jersey getting ripped off his body. Caleb says this is the best podcast, period. I agree. Look, I agree with it. But thank you so much, man. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast, and I appreciate those kind words. I think there's some very, very great podcasters out here in the world, especially that cover the New Orleans Saints. I just like to think that I'm one of the best. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind saying that. I put a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication to what I'm doing. And you know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be nothing without you all being here. Contrary to what anybody may think, Let's see. Abby says, Dave the Bus Wilson. Are you talking about Wade Wilson? Dave, okay. I don't know if you're talking about Wade or Dave. Fred Weary was okay, suffered ACL, but already lacked foot speed, but was high awareness. Yeah, Fred Weary, hit and miss. Could dissect the play, but always was a day late and a dollar short. How is that? Like, he knew what was coming. He just couldn't stop it. I think that's a fair assessment to evaluate Fred Weary. Fred Weary was a smart football player. He just was always a day late and a dollar short. Always around the football, just couldn't capitalize. I mean, he was always like a tick or two off, but he knew what he was doing. Julio goes to Arizona Cardinals, I bet. That'd be one hell of a team with Hopkins on one side and Julio on the other. My goodness. My goodness. Is retirement home for the NFL? Right back at you. Yeah, I know, Tony. You know, I know you're a Falcon fan, and I'm pretty sure you don't wish us any good luck either, man. But I appreciate you being here, man. Thank you so much for walking into the Lions Den every episode. Eugene says running back Antonio Pittman out of Ohio State. Word to Pierre Thomas. Kyle Turley. Kyle Turley wasn't bad. But I will say this: if the only thing that you are mostly remembered by is drawing a Jets helmet into the stands, and not really by or your lone locks of being that rebel. But everybody like Kyle Turley. Like Kyle Turley, like embodied New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? Like every now, like the thing about being a Saints fan, sometimes the fan favorites aren't not even the best person on a team. Like it's always like maybe like that special teams guy that tries hard. You know what I'm saying? Like think of like Fred McAfee back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like guy that played on special teams. Like he was a fan favorite. Like everybody loved McAfee. You know, like it's always like guys that kind of fly under the radar. Kyle Turley was that guy. You know. Keith says, "What up, TJ? It's been a minute, bro, but I heard the Ravens trying to get Julio. That's not a good move for him. That's not a good spot for him. I'm sorry. No disrespect to Lamar Jackson, but I feel like his stats, I'm talking about Julio, would take a huge hit if he was to go to the Baltimore Ravens. The way that they run, the way their offense is structured, I think Julio would be extremely frustrated. You know, I think he'll be extremely frustrated because make no mistake about it, he still feel like he got something left in the tank. And, guys still want to produce and they want to go to a team where they can go out there and show their talents. I would think that he would like to go somewhere like New England, go somewhere like San Francisco, even though I don't think they can afford him. I'd be shocked if they did. Somewhere where somebody to throw the football, they'll be able to invest in his talents. Like I said, no disrespect to Lamar Jackson, but the fact that they're so run-based, so option-based, I think that Julio wouldn't be happy in Baltimore. I really do. TJ Buck Nasty Jones. Oh, hate. Delvin Bro wasn't a draft pick. I don't want to say, and he was really good, man. I think he's one of the best players to ever play Canadian football, man. So I just think that the injuries that he sustained, I think it kind of stopped him from being on the field. So I wouldn't put Delvin Bro in that category. And like I said, he wasn't drafted by the Saints. Remember Ice-T on the Player Haters Ball telling the crowd next on one of y'all disrespect me, somebody getting stabbed. Believe that. Yeah, I remember that. Slim says Aloy Kakaha. Aloy Kakaha had his moments, but I definitely would put him in that category as one of the worst because he couldn't stay healthy. But the Saints took a gamble on him anyway because in college, man, he had 2 ACL injuries one on each leg. Aloy Kakaha, I think if he would have stayed healthy, he would have been good. I think him leaving college, he led college football in sacks. So I can see why the Saints understood him. But the thing about it was, when you're a second-round pick, teams want more out of you. And when you're only in the game on third down for NASCAR packages, that ain't good. I mean, he forced a couple fumbles. Like, he led the team in forced fumbles his rookie season. But like I said, he kept on getting injured, couldn't get on the field. So, yeah. But, I mean, we all know about, Aloy Kakaha, people like that, man. I wouldn't be surprised if Aloy Kakaha, he's still young, might end up in WWE somewhere, hanging out with Roman Reigns and the Usos. I mean, he still got a lot left in the tank, man. He played in the XFL. XFL fell under. So, I mean, he still got, I seen like him recently and stuff like that. He still looks like he in good shape. He looks like he in good spirits. So, who knows? Aloy Kakaha might end up in WWE, hanging out with Roman Reigns, being a part of being part of the table. Roman Reigns, the head of the table, he might be like one of the guys to, come out there. Who knows? Gigatis, how much he was paid for one season? Who we talking about here? Let me go back. What did Gigatis say? I apologize, Gigatis. I missed your comment. Let's see. It was either 43 or 45. Who we talking about here, Gigatis? Who we talking about? I kind of missed that. I know this cat wasn't drafted by us, but Jason David. Oh. Ooh. Boy, I can smell the stench from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, still from Poetry Street. You know what I'm saying? Like that guy smoked turkey. That guy stayed getting beat. I'll never forget when Andre Johnson almost became a Hall of Famer in one game going up against Jason David. I mean, it was like Andre Johnson was burning this dude so bad, like you would have thought Jason David was the referee. You know, like when a player be running, you know what I'm saying? He be smoking, and then the referee just getting beat 30, 40 yards back. That's the way it looked when Jason David was going up against Andre Johnson. Like Andre Johnson almost had a gold jacket, you know, in one game going up against Jason David. Like this guy could not cover with a bed sheet. Like seriously, like he was awful. I think he had like one good game. I think he had like multiple interceptions. And I think it was on Monday Night Football. That was like the only game I can remember. But every other game, the only thing I can remember is him getting beat on a double move. But that was the Saints' fault. The Saints ended up getting this guy because they thought that he can be an outside corner, which he was not. Like he played mostly in nickel and zone-based packages for Indianapolis. So that was the Saints' fault. That was just a bad scouting report. Like, I can't even blame Jason David for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, if somebody give me this type of Skrilla, I'm taking it. Like, even if I know for a fact that I ain't going to be what y'all, you know, want me to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to do it. But, yeah, he was awful. God awful. That guy was trash, man. I'm sorry. BFI. I'm late, but here, TJ. But Wayne Martin, Ronaldo Turnbull, Joe Johnson, Frank Warren, Charles Grant, Leroy Glover were all great defensive linemen for the Saints. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That man took me back when he said Wayne Martin. Yeah, Wayne Martin, Turnbull, Joe Johnson. I'm still mad. You know what I'm saying? Like, God rest his soul, but Ty Benson was cheap as hell. And I don't know what the heck was going on with that. For a minute, I'm gonna just be honest with you. Tom Benson had almost like this corny carnival type mind frame for a long time. And you know, like people, I know the family like in, you know, disarray, and it's unfortunate. But when his granddaughter Rita Benson like started taking over the day-to-day operations, that's when you start seeing the team change. And I'm gonna be real with you. I'm sorry. But if Rita Benson LeBlanc would have still been like head operations with the Saints, I think the Saints would have had more Super Bowls. I just think that the Saints sometimes are too much of a lax organization. Like during those times where we had like, you know, I won't call them the dark ages, but when they were kind of sputtering, you know what I'm saying, that time when Drew Brees got the big contract and their defense couldn't stop nobody. Like I feel like if Rita Benson, you know what I'm saying, would have still been like a part of the Saints organization, I think the Saints would have been able to do a lot better. Because the thing about it is Sean Payton didn't like her. You know what I'm saying? I guess they butted heads because she demanded so much. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you can't have a lax organization. Sometimes I just feel like that's going to be the detriment to the Saints sometimes. Like when you have a lax organization, like when a team wins more than they normally do, sometimes you like kick your heels up and put your hands behind your head. You're like, you know what I'm saying? I'm fine. It's fine. Like we ain't got nothing to worry about. But Tom Benson, back to Tom Benson, I just feel like he had like that carnival type feel. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm a put together these makeshift games. You're going to show up anyway because it's a carnival, right? And I'm going to pocket all of the money. I'm not going to fix the rides. I'm not going to, you know what I'm saying, make the game more, you know what I'm saying, like more easier for people to play so they can win the big stuff bear. I just want to pocket all the profits. And that's the way I felt when he let go of Sammy Knight. And Sammy Knight went to Kansas City. Leroy Glover ended up leaving, you know what I'm saying, going to the Cowboys. And Joe Johnson went to the Packers. Like you had on every single level, you had an anchor defensive end, you had an anchor at the linebacker position, and anchor in the secondary. Everybody knows Sam Knight, he brought in the wood, right? We know that, you know what I'm saying, like Leroy Glover was running sideline to sideline, and Joe Johnson, he was getting pressure on the quarterback. And if you add Norman Hand up in that thing, nobody was running on the Saints. But Tom Benson didn't want to keep these guys. I don't know, man. He let those guys go. And I just feel like that was when the Saints, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, time to get somebody else. But I'm glad that Rita Benson, you know, to me, set the tone of what the new generation of Saints football is going to look like. And I think Gail Benson does a really good job now. You know what I'm saying? Like, understanding, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's set. And I like the fact that Gail and Rita kind of softened up the old man before he passed away, because I don't think that some of the decisions would have been made if it were just his decisions alone. You know, I don't know what they did. I don't know if they guided him to it. Maybe, you know what I'm saying, him marrying Gail, you know what I'm saying, kind of softening him up. Maybe he realized that he was getting older. He had to leave a legacy. That's why you see him donating money to Canton and seemed like he was a little bit more loose with the checkbook. But Tom Benson was God bless him, God rest his soul, but he was a little bit of a skinflint, man. And I think that it cost the Saints a lot. A lot. Everyone, be sure to share this on your respective social media accounts. We got to blow TJ up as the top sports podcast. Well, Jerry, I appreciate that, man. But look, y'all already make me feel like I'm the top sports podcast. Like, I'm really being honest, man. Y'all make me feel that way. You know, like I said, I mean, people, it's just crazy. Like, you know, people recognizing you from doing a podcast, and I don't know, man. I'm just an everyday guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, my mom tells me all the time, she gets all excited, like, oh, you know, they was listening to you. Because, you know what I'm saying? Shouts out to my mom, you know what I'm saying? She hurt a leg not too long ago. She was going to therapy. And she talks about how the people, you know, shouts out if she's at physical therapy right now, shouts out to all those out there, you know what I'm saying, at the therapy place where she goes to. But, you know, she gets this kick out of it. But I just don't, you know what I'm saying, I just don't see it, man. Because, you know, I mean, to me, I'm just an everyday guy. You know what I'm saying? I still feel that way. You know, and I don't think I'll ever change. You know, so thank y'all, you know what I'm saying, for being here. Thank y'all for allowing me to be the go-to guy for you all to talk Saints football. I really do. But there's so many other great guys out here, man. Nas is really good. Aaron out there, you know what I'm saying, the Black and Gold podcast, Big Q, Deuce Wenham, Ross Jackson, CB, Pretty Carly, you know what I'm saying? Like, all those different people out there that's putting in the work, man. And you know what I'm saying? I got so much respect for them, but I thank y'all, man. I thank y'all for y'all kind words, and I thank y'all for y'all support. I really do. Keith Jones says, I disagree about Rita Benson. Sean Payton wouldn't be here if she had the power to can him. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, Keith. I agree. Okay? You're absolutely right. You are absolutely 100% right. But Keith, wouldn't you agree that organizations need accountability? Like, you got to keep in mind, okay, if you're a good worker, right, you go to work, you do a good job, but let's just say all of a sudden you start getting comfortable and you start getting lackadaisical, right, and you're not really putting your best foot forward. Wouldn't you expect your manager to come to you and be like, hey, you know, like, man, you do an outstanding job, man, but I just noticed lately, you know, your work ain't been, you know, reflecting what I normally see. Anything going on? You know, like, when you do that, so I don't have an issue with that. I don't have, like, at this particular time, the Saints were missing in the playoffs. Their defense couldn't stop nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I can understand, like, what the heck going on? Like, we just won a Super Bowl, right? We supposed to be winning games. We supposed to be able to capitalize off this Super Bowl success. What's going on here? So I can understand that. Now, do I believe that Sean Payton should have got fired? No. Do I think that he should have been held accountable for what was going down? Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it is. Like, you're supposed to get all of the praise when you win, right? You want it all, right? Man, it's me. I did this. It was me. I'm the one that did all this work, right? But you know what I'm saying? When you get criticism when things are not going right, hey man, what's going on? You got to be able to answer them questions as well. But I got to take a brief break and thank those people that are checking out the podcast. And if you enjoy the State of the Saints podcast, you enjoy the content, go ahead and hit that like button, man. And if you're new to the channel and you're kind of on the fence, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, man. We have really good content here. This is a very interactive podcast. And I want to thank the sponsor of the State of the Saints podcast, manscaped.com. Look, the draft is a couple days away. We're all excited about it. But the pick that you need to get is manscaped.com. You need to choose manscaped.com, the first overall pick in men's grooming, okay? Over 2 million men worldwide have chosen manscaped.com for all of their grooming items, and they have really good products, man. My suggestion is the Lawnmower 3.0 that's available, man, and I have a special promotion. If you go to manscaped.com, you'll save 20% off of your purchase by using the promo code State of Saints. That's all one word, State of Saints. You'll save 20% off of your purchase. So thank those at Manscaped. Also want to thank those at Everlast. Everlast, since 1910, has been the trusted name in all combat sports, MMA, boxing. They're worn by guys like Canelo Alvarez and Deontay Wilder, former heavyweight champion of the world. And they have been worn by legends such as the legendary Jack Johnson, man. So go to everlast.com and check out some of their products that they have available. And also, man, Cash App. Okay, thank you to Cash App. We're wrapping up the campaign for the month of April for Cash App. But if you want to donate to the State of the Saints podcast, not through YouTube, not through Facebook, you can always use the Cash App, $ State of Saints. But back to what Kenneth was saying, you know, like, I just think that accountability is important. But I definitely agree with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, do I think that she was a habitual line stepper? Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Like, she used to overstep, you know what I'm saying, overstep her bounds. But it's because, man, she was just so emotionally invested in it. But I do think that you need a yin to the yang. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need somebody that going to keep your competitive juices flowing and have you on your toes every now and then. I mean, it's in every walk of life, right? Like, you need somebody that's going to hold you accountable. Mike, thank you very much for the $2. Says, I can't wait for Thursday when the Saints draft the O-line. Oh, man, you and Jared Poor, man, y'all are not, like, y'all not with the offensive lineman, man. Y'all are not with the O-line at all. So, yeah. Stanley Jean-Baptiste was horrible. I agree. Payton have too much of a big ego to listen now. Well, when you're the most winningest coach in Saints history, you're the most successful coach in Saints history, kind of hard for you to be like, okay, well, if I don't do it, then who did? You know what I'm saying? Like, take what – that's why I say, man, you need people to hold you accountable. You need people to put you in check. You know what I'm saying? Like, if – you know, I understand, and he deserves to beat on his chest and say, I'm the best, I'm the greatest. You know, I mean, because he is. Like I said, if we're looking at, you know, Saints coaches of the past, like, he is, without a shadow of a doubt, the greatest head coach in New Orleans Saints history. But here's the reality. Here's reality, folks. You know, like, he ain't got much to choose from. So I guess the fact that they ain't got much to choose from, he feel like, what can you possibly tell me? So you need somebody to hold you in check, man. I'm sorry. Neil says, had Rita taken over Saints with a move to San Antonio. I don't think so, Neil. I think that was mostly Tom Benson. Tom Benson was holding – he was basically holding the Saints hostage, man, because he wanted the Superdome to get renovated. So he used that as leverage. You know, like, okay, I'm going to move the team if y'all don't look out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't watch out, I'm moving the team. So, yeah. They thought he was the next Richard Sherman. That man wasn't the next Richard Sherman, General Sherman. Rest in peace to my Uncle Sherman. That man wasn't none of that, okay? That man, no Sherman you could think of. Sherman and Mr. Peabody. Like, that boy, any Sherman that you can think of, he was nowhere near any of those Shermans, okay? Maul says, you have a point, but Rita is a snake. She would have sold the Saints the first chance she got. hey, man, I'm starting to feel that way. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. I guess I liked her business sense, but I guess like when you're a business shark, sometimes like there's no limits to what you can do or what you will do. So who knows? You know what I'm saying? Maybe you're right. You know what I'm saying? I really, like I said, I just know that she just held like Sean Payton accountable. That's the best aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? I like when you have people that kind of put people on their toes, and you're like, you know, like, okay, you know what I'm saying? But let's build off this. Let's build off this. But I can understand that, right? If you're a businessman or a businesswoman, sometimes like you're doing the things so you can stay on top. And this includes like make decisions that might not be popular to most. And maybe Tom Benson saw that. Maybe Tom Benson saw into the heart of his granddaughter and he decided to nip it in the bud. Because we know, at least as long as Gail Benson is alive, that, you know, that the Saints aren't going anywhere. We know that for a fact. Who that TJ just running into the show? If his name hasn't been brought up yet, I think Danny Wolfel was the worst draft choice we ever had. Ramsey, his name definitely was brought up. I feel like he's the worst quarterback the Saints have ever had. Yeah, and he definitely didn't pan out, you know. But I just think that he played in the wrong era. Hey, TJ, I know we talked about the Saints linebackers a lot, but how do you feel about Mark Fields? I think he was decent. Mark Fields is one of my favorite players, man. Not because, you know what I'm saying, that funny gap he had in his teeth, you know what I'm saying, Michael Strahan style, which Michael Strahan got rid of his gap, man. Ain't that weird? Like, what y'all think about Michael Strahan like getting rid of his gap? Like, that's kind of crazy, man, that actually happened. So, yeah. But I don't know, man. Mark Fields, I liked him a lot, man. I'm going to read one more, and then we're going to get up out of here. Let's see. Jerry giving a shout-out to Damien. And her and Coach Payton was butting heads hard, so we would have ran him away. Yeah, probably would have, man. Like I said, man, a lot of people are saying some things about Sean Payton. I mean, about Rita Benson. I looked at it from a business aspect, but I mean, a lot of y'all follow that story much more than I have. Hey, TJ, we drafted the punter in the first round and the old lineman from the swag. Oh man. Well, look, speaking of swag, I want y'all to check out the video that I did an interview with Jay Walker from ESPN. He covers all the HBCU football games. So check it out, man. Check out the interview that I did. It's about 30 minutes. We're talking about swag football. Gave his thoughts on Deion Sanders coming into the swag, as well as the swag championship, man. So I put it on the State of the Saints podcast page for those who want to check it out. You know, all I ask you to do, if you like the content, follow the State of the Swag podcast, Facebook and YouTube channel, you know. But this has been the State of the Saints podcast. What up, buddy? All right, the packing man is here. We wrapping it up, man. All right. But this has been the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you all so much. You gonna wave at everybody? You gonna wave? All right. Y'all make sure that y'all subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints Podcast, facebook.com, search The State of the Saints Podcast. Previous episodes available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM. Thank you all so much. And until next time, I am TJ Jones, the host, and Packing Man, the host. All right. Of the State of the Saints Podcast. And all we have to say is, who that?